Family planning is always top of mind. Literacy for girls, education opportunity for girls around the world, equity in the workplace, promotability of women. We need more women executives. Support for mothers, particularly low-income mothers, making sure that they can thrive with their children and have affordable childcare.
I would love to ask the entire world to help Afghan women to know their values.
Education for women, because in my country currently schools are closed, education system is completely collapsed, and also women participation. Women are not working in government department, none of the government and NGOs, they're not attending women in any decision making. Gender equality and also non-discrimination against women. We can see discrimination against women all over the world, and I think everyone should understand about negative impact of discriminations and should stand against and fight against discrimination and injustice in order to have a healthy country and pave the way for their daughters, family, for the family.
I've always been really interested in working and talking about and keeping the conversation going about period poverty and how it affects women. Anything that has to do with women's health, their reproductive health, having body autonomy and having the ability to say this is what I'm going to do with my body regardless of what you think about it.
I think it's important when anytime there's a group of people who have some kind of power to do something or who are making decisions, just taking notice of and being aware of who's at the table and noticing who's not at the table, who's not represented, who's not there, whose life experiences are not being counted.
Gender equality, women's education, career, especially with foreign women, seeing a lot of Afghan women who were left behind in Afghanistan even. They didn't have enough education. Coming here, it's really hard for them to learn a language where they cannot even read and write in their own language. So advocate for women's education.
Women and girls' education. Everyone deserves to be educated. Everyone deserves to get to dream and to get to pursue their goals. And women's healthcare. It is unfortunate and completely disheartening that for half the population, their health and their bodies have been under-researched and underfunded and completely overlooked.
All women should be given not only right to education, but also the means to succeed and get educated. Education is key for someone to reach all other dreams that she may have. And this obviously is related to my home country, Afghanistan, and to all of the recently arrived Afghan women in United States or other developing countries.
Women's reproductive rights. I have 2 sisters. I have a daughter, and having been through like a miscarriage myself, it just terrifies me to think that if those rights are taken away from us, to even just to be able to go through a miscarriage without somebody questioning why that happened, or needing medical attention for something, placenta previa or whatever, but to think that it can go into question really terrifies me, especially for my daughter. And then I remembered, like, oh my gosh, my sister too, like all the women in my life. But I can use my voice and I can vote, and that's what I plan on doing.
Support and celebrate women's achievements and advocate for women in Afghanistan to get their fundamental rights which are taken away from them.
As a social worker working with foreign-born and refugee populations, I really want to focus on mental health, financial literacy, and barriers to employment and integration into the United States. So a real strong push to empower our program participants and also our female staff members that are refugees and asylees and SIVs themselves, to make sure that their voices are heard and to make sure that what they view as priorities for equity are heard every day.
To help women, to give them education and provide them education opportunity, as we are seeing again, unfortunately in my country, many people, particularly women and girls, you were hearing globally, that they are deprived of this basic fundamental rights. And I believe that is the key and fundamental factor for change.
Today, many women in Afghanistan are in prison. Only they ask their very basic rights, which is work and education. I really wish that we have a time that no man and woman be in prison for asking their very basic rights.
Women's economic mobility and women's ability to achieve what they want to achieve in the workplace. Men are more likely to apply for jobs they're not qualified for. Women are more likely to apply for jobs only if they check all of the boxes for qualifications. How can we create an environment where every woman can have the same opportunities to advance in their careers and to find the career that they want to pursue as their male counterparts?
روز زن البته از دید من از دیدگاه من 8 مارچ روز همبستگی و روز بزرگداشت و مبارزات خستگی ناپذیر زنان در سراسر جهان البته برای حقوق اساسی آنها در جامعه است.
Education as well as the work and the health sector, because most of the women in villages in some areas that they are not educated enough. There's a lot of misunderstanding and society kind of give them a shame or blame them for a natural thing, and women are bullied. Most of the women, they don't have even a very basic knowledge of pregnancy, period, and very basic diseases or treatment of their children. So bringing awareness and increasing knowledge of women, how they can deal with some of the very small health issues, I think this is a very important area that should be considered.
Providing women with the opportunities to thrive and succeed in the workplace, working mothers or women that are caretakers, taking the pandemic into consideration. We learned through those times of lockdown that there are plenty of jobs that can be done remotely, that don't have to be done from 9 to 5, that don't have to be done in an office. And that would greatly benefit women, especially women that are mothers or caretakers.
I really want the word to focus on at the moment is the situation of women in Afghanistan. Unfortunately, they are deprived of all the human rights, the fundamental basic rights that are needed for a human being in order to live a dignified life, which is right to education, right to work, and right to living a free life. I want the world not to forget the Afghan woman and to pressure Taliban to create equitable and accessible and equal environment for women of Afghanistan as well.
Unfortunately, in the Middle East, especially in Afghanistan, we are suffering now that our women, they are not have their simple rights. In the United States, now we have a lot of Afghan women here. In my idea, if we concentrate their education, how to find work, how to integrate them in this society, it will be a big achievement.
I had the wonderful experience of living in India for a couple of years. And I'll never forget having a medical emergency there, which really opened my eyes to women's rights and girls' rights. I arrived in the sonogram room and I started to see all these signs on the walls that said, you're not allowed to test for the sex of the baby. There is a bit of a problem in this country where if women have a test done for the sex of their baby and it's determined that the baby's a girl, a lot of families try to get rid of the pregnancy because girls are viewed in some of the parts of the population as a burden and something that is not wanted. And that was hard to see.
Please don't forget Afghan women. As an Afghan woman, I'm talking on behalf of Afghan women. We can do, we will do, and we did.
Everyday girls face barriers to education caused by poverty, cultural norms, practices, poor infrastructures, violence. Women's education is a strategic development priority, ensuring that all girls and young women receive quality education is their human rights. If you educate a man, you educate a person, but if you educate a woman, you educate the nation.
The women of Afghanistan is totally deprived to have access to education, to have access to work. They are totally banned and they badly suffer from what's going on over there. They're just struggling to survive. They have nothing and they hope that they should be free one day from the captivity, from the prison.
As an Afghan woman, as an Afghan refugee woman, I could get here all opportunities like driving, working opportunities, study opportunities. And I think if these opportunities will be provided for all women in the world, I think they will be very strong, they will be very success. And I believe that women, they are heroes.